If you're over 50, chances are your voice is cracking more than it used to. And I want you to hear this before you try and push through it. Now, your voice isn't broken. It's trying to do something very specific. And the way most singers respond to this is the exact thing that's making it worse. Let me show you what's happening inside your vocal cords and what to do instead. Let's discuss the physics of why your voice cracks, because once you understand this, you'll know why pushing more air through your vocal break doesn't fix it. And it's also why some singers never seem to crack. They never struggle with it, and others struggle with it their whole lives. And it's not simply innate talent. And it's also why the struggle gets harder after 50. Here's the piece most singers don't understand. Your vocal folds don't just have a single motion. They actually have many motions, many patterns of vibration, but they have two primary ones. They work like this. Put your hands together like you're praying and move them apart and back together. That's pattern number one, like elevator doors opening and closing. And that's often what people picture when they think about singing. Now, put your hands back in this prayer position and keep your index fingers touching and just move your pinkies apart. Now, bring your pinkies back and move the index fingers apart. It's back and forth, top, bottom, top, bottom. That's pattern number two. It's a seesaw happening between the top and bottom edges of your vocal folds. And both of these are happening at the same time when you sing. The elevator doors open and close the gap. The seesaw feeds the energy into the vibration. It keeps your voice going instead of having to restart over and over. And here's where things get fascinating. Each of these patterns has a speed it naturally wants to vibrate at, and those speeds aren't always the same. What pulls them into one coordinated motion, one pitch that you hear, is your breath. Your breath pressure is the thing that forces the two patterns to lock together. That gives you the pitch that comes out of your mouth. When these two patterns naturally sit close together, when they want to vibrate at nearly the same speed, your airflow locks them in easily. There's no effort. This means your passaggio, your mix, is smooth. You pass through the break without even noticing. When these two patterns, though, have different natural speeds, your airflow has to work harder to bring them into sync. And if they drift too far apart, the airflow can't bridge them anymore. That's the crack. It's your voice giving up on one coordination and jumping to a completely different one because the patterns couldn't stay coupled at that pitch, at that setting. When you crack, it's a synchronization failure. Every smooth transition is the syncing working. And here's the other challenge. Two things happen to your vocal folds with age, and they both push the voice in the same direction. First, the TA muscles. These are the muscles of your vocal cords, your vocal folds. They're within the vocal folds. When these muscles weaken with age, the vibrating edge gets thinner. The elevator doors don't come together as fully. This seesaw can't work as well. There's not as much surface area for it. And second, the surface of your vocal folds change. In voices that have been shaped by testosterone, male voices, the folds often thin further with age as testosterone is reduced. In voices shaped by estrogen, female voices, the outer surface usually thickens after menopause. Either way, the geometry of your vocal folds is changing. And here's what that means in your body. The coordination that worked for you at 25, at 35, the muscle setting, the edge thickness, the feeling of going through your mix, well, that setting doesn't work at 60. The tissues have changed. The two vibration patterns have likely drifted further apart, and the window where they sync up has narrowed. your voice needs a different setup. Now, here's what I want you to be careful of, because this is what I see singers do when they hit this narrow window. They push. They grab more air pressure. They drive harder through the break, and it works up to a point because more airflow can force the patterns into sync. You can make it happen, but you're trashing your voice to do it. If you're older and your singing feels like this, your voice is louder than it needs to be. It feels strained after 20 minutes of singing. High notes feel like a climb rather than a release. You're tired after a song that you used to easily sing. That's the pushing trap. You've been compensating for a coordination problem with brute force, and your body, your voice, is absorbing the cost. So, what's the alternative? Stop trying to force the sync with more air. Rebuild the conditions at the vocal folds. Set up the vocal folds so the patterns want to lock together more easily. And here are 3 main things you can do. First, work the muscle of the vocal folds, the TA muscle. And it's not just strength, it's control. The TA gives the edge of your vocal folds its thickness. And when the TA muscle is weak, the seesaw doesn't work as well. The patterns don't sync up. When it's too aggressive, you're just pressing. What you want is precise dosing. Exercises that target this. Moderate scales through your mix or passaggio. Bratty sounds, crying sounds, repeated notes that hold a coordination. Great exercises that I love. Goog with a little cry. Goog, 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 goog. Bratty sounds on K. K, 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 K. These all work really well. They bring the TA muscle into coordination without a press. Then work your falsetto. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. It creates a very thin edge, and it's a reference point, but it also gets everything stretched and working. Woo! And it also allows you to gradually add the TA engagement until you feel more body come in without overpressing, without having to push the air. I love this one. You gently come down so that you feel the TA engage. So you're not going coo, 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 but you're also not going coo, 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 coo. You feel the voice gain body. You're not pushing. The synchronization of the patterns happens more easily because you're helping set up the right conditions. The patterns come together not because you force them, but because you're using coordination. And third, work your breath pressure, your airflow, your support. Get the breath to match the setting at the vocal folds. The right pressure is the minimum pressure that holds the synchronization together. It's not the maximum you can push. And SOVT exercises, straw phonation, lip trills, they help add to the coupling force that synchronizes the patterns. The back pressure from a straw or your bubbling lips gives these patterns a little extra help to sync up so you can practice the coordination before it's really working in your voice. And then you can work it without the straw. So here's what I want you to take away. Your voice isn't breaking. It's a coordination problem. It's a problem of these patterns syncing up. And pushing more air is not going to fix it. It's going to train a worse one. The work that older singers need to do is more precise than it used to be. But every variable we talked about, the edge thickness, the pattern coupling, the breath management, all of it responds to training at any age. And I need you to hear this. Your voice will respond to training. If you'd like to go deeper into reclaiming your older voice, you can get a free PDF download of my best-selling book, The Mature Singer's Guidebook. The entire thing, plus special exercises. The link is below. And if you'd like a great warm-up for your voice, I put the link right here. So go ahead, click that. Be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, to better singing. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.